La Yashala. Imagine upon your hakodam, which means to rise and face the east. We're going to start the prayers. We'll do the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemaya, Kodash, Haya, Shamka, Yahweh, Malakwatha. It's like it. Malakwatha, Sabbath, Ratazaka, Haya, Aisha, Ba'arataza, Kawa, Haya, Bashemaya, Nathalanawa, Lakam, Call, Yawam, Wasalaknawa, Kabawafnawa, Kasalaknawa, Kabawaf Yanawa, Wala'a, Tabiyanawa, Banasayawan, Abal, Hawashinawa, Mayan, Ra, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwa, Wa Allah, Wa Tabarat, La Iwalamya, Aman. We just read. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those that trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever so be it. Amen. Next, we're going to do the power, which is hakak in the Hebrew. Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Baba Kashah, Nathan Lanawa, hakak, Larapa'ah, Kal Maka'ala, Wakal Madawa, hakak, Lataha, Ha Matazarayam, hakak, Lahakwayam, Hamathim, hakak, Arakawa, Hatama Allah, Lagarashan, Ba'ashim Yahushai, the water. Amen. We just read. Lord, in the name of Yahushua, please give us the power to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease, the power to cleanse the lepers, the power to raise the dead, the power against unclean spirits, to cast them out in the name of Yahushua. Thank you. So be it. We're going to do Psalms 121 in the Hebrew. Asha'ah, Ayanya, Al Harayam, Ma'ayan, Yaba'ah, Azariah, Ma'ay, Yahweh, Aisha, Shamayam, Wa'arataza, Al Yathan, Lamawat, Regalka, Al Yanawam, Shamarka, Hana, La'a, Yanawam, Wala'a, Yashan, Shawama, Yahweh, Yasha'ala, Yahweh, Shamarka, Yahweh, Tazalka, Al Yad, Yamyaka, Wayamam, Hashamash, La'a, Yakaka, Wayara, Balayala, Yahweh, Yashamarka, Makal Ra, Yashama, Asnapashka, Yahweh, Yashama, Tasa Uska, Wabuaka, Ma'aitha, I will love. We just read. I will lift up my eyes onto the hills. From whence cometh my help? My help cometh from the Lord, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and even forevermore. Right? We're going to do Psalms 83 in the Hebrew. Alahayim, al-Damalika, al-Dakarash, wa al-Dashakwat, al-Kayahana, al-Yabika, Yahama Yawan, wa Mashanayika, Nasha'awa, Ra'ash, al-Aimaka, Yeriyamwa, Sawad, Wayatha Aitazawa, al-Tazapawanyika, Amawar, Lakawar, Wanakakida, Mabiya, Wala'a, Yasaka, Sham, Yasha'ala, Iwad, Kaya, Kaya, Noah Aitazawa, Love, Yakadwa, Al Yakab, Bayarat, Yakarathwa, Ahal Ya, Adawam, Washamai Layam, Mawa'aba, Wa Hagarayam, Gabal, Wa Amawan, Wa Amalak, Palashat, Yashavia, Tazawar, Gum Ashawar, Nelawar, Imam, Hayawa, Zera'ai, Labanya Lawa, Salah, Aisha Laham, Kamaji, Kasa Yisra'ah, Kayabya, Banakal, Koyashwan, Nashamadwa, Ba'ayan, Da'ara, Hayawa, Daman, La'adama, Shayathamwa, Nadiyamwa, Ka'ara, Wakazaba, Wakazaba, Wakazamana, Kal Nasiyakamwa, Ashar, Amawar, Nirashar, Lanawar, Af Na'awat, Alahayim, Alahaya, Shayathamwa, Kagalgala, Kakwash, Thalahat, Harayam, Kan Tharadutma, Basa'iraka, Wabasawafka, Dabahalam, Mala'ah, Panyaham, Kwalawan, Weabakwashwa, Shimkar, Yahawah, Yabashwa, Weabahawa, Ijai, Weakaparwa, Weabadwa, Weagaiwa, Kaya, Athar, Shimkar, Yahawah, Labadka, Al Yawan, Al Kalha Arataza. Salaki, what we just read. It's Psalms 83. And I read, keep not thy silence, O power. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O power. For lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee, the tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites, of Moab and the Hagarenes, Gabal and Ammon and Amalek, the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre. A sword is also joined with them. They have opened the children of Lot, Salah. Do unto them as unto the Midianites, as to Sisera, at the brook of Kazan, which perished at Endor. They became as dung for the earth. Make their nobles like Orad and like Ze'ed. Yeah, all their princes, as Zabad and as Zalmunna, who said, let us take to ourselves the house of the Most High in possession. O my power, make them like a wheel, as the stubble before the wind, as the fire burneth the wood, and as the flame setteth the mountains on fire. So persecute them with thy tempest, and make them afraid with thy storm. Fill their faces with shame, that they may seek thy name, O Lord. Let them be confounded and troubled forever. Yea, let them be put to shame and perish, that men may know that thou, whose name alone is Yahweh, art the Most High over all the earth. All right? We're going to do the blessings in the Hebrew. Barakatah Yahweh, wa Yahawashah, wa Miyat Ya'ala, wa Alahayim, Matazabaya, Alawap Yahana, Ha Alawapyam, Ha Saranyam, Ha Quatazayanyam, Ha Kalyayoyam, wa Akwafya, Yahweh, by Shimi Awashai, the water, Amen. We just read. Bless you, Yahweh, and Yahawashai, and Michael, and the angels, Commander General Yohana, the generals, the captains, the officers, the troopers, and the sisters. Yahweh, in the name of Yahushua, thank you, so be it. With that, Asad, which means to turn. All right. Yeshavia, which means to be seated. Last week we left off. Pull it up. I believe we're near the end of the book of Exodus. All throughout 2020, or at least into the start of the COVID-19 pandemic that shut down this empire, we have been in the book of Exodus, and we are going to exit out of the book of Exodus, I believe, this week or next week. That's kind of where we're at right now. We'll just make sure. All right, so we in let me just make sure. We're in the book of Exodus, chapter 39. So basically, we have 2 more chapters in the book of Exodus, and we'll be complete with that. So, book of Exodus, chapter 39. As you know, we do first 7 verses in the Hebrew, and then we break it down in English. All right, book of Exodus. Let's see, chapter 39. We're gonna start at verse 1. All right. Waman Hathakalat Waha Aragaman Watharala Aitha Hashanya Aishawa Bagadaya Sharad La Sharat Bakwadasha Bakwadash Waya I Shawa Ath Bagadaya Hakwadash Ashar La'a Haran Ka Ashar Tezawa Yahweh Ath Mashah, verse 2. Waya Aisha Ath Ha'apad Zahab Hakalath Wa'ara Gaman Wathawa La'aitha Shanya Washasha Mashazar, verse 3. Wayara Kwa Iwa Ath Pakaya Hazahab Wakwa Taza Patha Yalam La'ai Shawat Wathawak Patha Kalath Waba Thawak Ha'ara Gaman Wabatha Wak Hawa La'aitha Thashanya Waba Thawak Hashasha Ma'aisha Kashab, verse 4. Kathapath Aishawa Lawa Habarath Al Shanya Quatazawa with the war Quatazawa Theyawa Kabar, verse 5. Wakashab Apa Dathawa Ashar Ilayawa Mamanawa Hawa'a Kama I Shahawa Zahab Haka Thakalath Wa'ara Gaman Wathawa La'aitha Shanya Rashasha Washasha Mashazar Ka'ashar Tazawa Yahweh Ath Mashah, verse 6. Wia I Shawah Ath Abanayah Hashaham Masabak Masha Batazatha Zahab Mapa Thakatha Pathawa Kawa Hawatham Al Shemayat Banya Yasha'ala, verse 7. Wayasham Atham Al Kathapath Ha'apad Abanya Zachariah 1 Labaniyah Yasha'ala Ka'ashar Tazawak Yahweh Ath Mashah. Exodus chapter 39 verse 1. This is what we just read. And of the blue and purple and scarlet. They made cloths of service to do service in the holy place, and made the holy garments for Aaron, as the Lord commanded Moses. Verse 2. And he made the ephod of gold, blue and purple and scarlet, and fine twined linen. Verse 3. And they did beat the gold into thin plates, and cut it into 2 wires, to work it in the blue, and in the purple, and in the scarlet, and in the fine linen, with cunning work. Verse 4. They're giving you a description of what Aaron's garments look like. They made shoulder pieces for it, to couple it together. By the 2 edges was it coupled together. And the curious girdle of his ephod that was upon it was of the same, according to the work thereof, of gold, blue, and purple, and scarlet, and fine twined linen, as the Lord commanded Moses. Verse 6. And they wrought onyx stones enclosed in ouches of gold, graven as signets are graven, with the names of the children of Israel. Verse 7. And he put them on the shoulders of the ephod, that they should be stones for a memorial to the children of Israel, as the Lord commanded Moses. So basically, they're describing the Lord gave Moses instructions on how to put together Aaron's holy garment. And on that holy garment was the names of the children of Israel. And with that said, there were stones that were put for each tribe, 12 stones altogether. And that's kind of what that's talking about. And those stones, I believe, were placed on his breastplate. Exodus, so now we're going to do the next 7 in the Hebrew. Exodus, chapter 39, verse 8. Where Aisha, Ath Hakashun, Ma'aisha, Kasha, Kama Aisha, Apad, Zahab, Thakalat, Wa'a Ragaman, Watha Wala Aitha, Shanya, Washasha, Mashazar, verse 9. Rabba Wa'ai, Haya, Kapawal, Aishawal, Ath Hakashan, Zaraf, Arakawal, Raza, was a Rath, Rakabawal, Kapawal, verse 10. Waya Mala'awal, Bawal, Araba'aiha, Tawaraya, Aban, Tawal, Adam, Pata, Daha, Wabara Quatha, Hatawar, Ha'akad, verse 11. Waha Tawar, Hashanya, Napak, Sapawar, Wayahalam, verse 12. Waha Tawar, Hashala Yeshaya, Lasham, Shabawar, Wa'a Kalama, verse 13. Waha Tawar, Hara Baya'aya, Thara Shayash, Shaham, Waya Shapa, Moa Sabbath, Musha Batazawat, Zahab, Bamala Athum, verse 14. Waha Abanayam, Al Shamath, Banya Yasha'ala, Hana, Shethayam, Aishara, Al Shamathum, Pathawa Kaya, Kathum, Ayash, Al Shamawa, Lashanayam, Aishar, Shabbat. All right. What we just read, Exodus chapter 39, verse 8. And he made breastplate of cunning work, like the work of the ephod, of gold, blue, and purple, and scarlet, and fine twined linen. It was 80. They made the breastplate double. A span was the length thereof, and a span the breadth thereof, being doubled. And they set it in 4 rows of stones. The first row was a sardius, a topaz, and a carbuncle. This was the first row. And the second row, an emerald, a sapphire, and a diamond. Verse 12. And the third row, a ligure, and a gate, an amethyst. And the fourth row, a beryl, an onyx, and jasper. These were enclosed in the ouches of gold in the enclosures. Verse 11. And the stones were according to the names of the children of Israel, 12 according to their names, like the engravings of a signet, everyone with his name according to the 12 tribes. Verse 15. And they made upon their breastplates chains at the ends of wreath work of pure gold. Verse 17. And they made 2 ouches of gold and 2 gold rings, and put the 2 rings in the 2 ends of the breastplate. And they put the 2 wreathed chains of gold. All right, we went too far. Actually, listen. We're supposed to stop at 14, so we're going to start at Exodus chapter 39, verse 15. Where Aishua al Hakashun Shara Sharaf Gabalaf Ma'aisha Ibatha Zahab Tahawar, verse 16. Where Aishua Shataya Mashaba Tazatha Zahab Washathaya Taba'aitha Zahab Waya Thanar Ath Shathaya Hataba'aitha Al Shanya Quatazawat Hakashan, verse 17. Waya Thanawa Athaya Ha'ai Bathatha Hazahab Al Shathaya Hata Ba'aitha Al Quatazawat Hakashan, verse 18. Wa'ath Shathaya Quatazawat Shathaya Ha'ai Bathatha Natha Nawa Al Shathaya Hamasha Batazatha Wayathanum Al Kathapat Ha'apar Al Mawal Paniyawa, verse 19. Waya I Shawa Shathaya Tiba'aitha Zahab Waya Shiamawa Al Shanya Quatazawat Hakashan Al Shapa Sawa, Ashar, Al Ibar, Ha'apad, Bayatha, verse 20. Waya I Shawa, Shataya, Taba'itha, Zaha, Waya Thanum, Al Shataya, Kazapat, Ha'apad, Malata, Mama Wall, Honey Wall, La'ai Mat, Maka Bara Sawa, Mama Tazal, Lakasha, Ha'apad, verse 21. Waya Rakasawa, Ath Hakashad, Mataba'ai Thayawa, Al Taba'aitha, Ha'apad, Bapathiyah, Thakalat, Laha Yatha, Al Kashad, Ha'apad, Wala'ah, Yazak, Hakashan, Ma'al, Ha'apad, Ka'ashah, Tazawa, Yahweh, Ath Mashah. We just read Exodus chapter 39, verse 15. And they made upon the breastplates chains at the end, a wreath work of pure gold. Verse 16. And they made 2 ouches of gold and 2 gold rings, and put the 2 rings in the 2 ends of the breastplate. And they put the chains of gold and 2 rings on the ends of the breastplate. And the 2 ends of the 2 wreath chains they fastened in 2 ouches, and put them on the shoulder pieces of the ephod before it. Verse 19. And they made 2 rings of gold and put them on the 2 ends of the breastplate, upon the border of it, which was on the side of the ephod inward. Verse 20. And they made 2 other golden rings and put them on the 2 sides of the ephod underneath, towards the fore part of it, over against the other coupling thereof, above the curious girdle of the ephod. And they did bind the breastplates by his rings onto the rings of the ephod with a lace of blue, that it might be above the curious girdle of the ephod, and that the breastplate might not be loosed from the ephod, as the Lord had commanded Moses. All right, that's just more description of how detailed Aaron's holy garment was commanded to be, down to the finest thread. And I mean, as you can see, this garment was a glorious garment that the Lord prepared for Aaron. Exodus chapter 39, we're going to start at verse 22. Where Aisha, Af Ma'ayol, Ha'apad, Ma'aisha, Aragah, Malayal, Hakalat, verse 23. Wapaya, Hama'ai, Yal, Bathawakawa, Kapaya, Sakara, Shapa, Lapayawa, Sabaya, La'a, Yakwa Ra'ai, verse 24. Where I Shawa, Al Shawalaya, Hama'ai, Yo, Ramawanaya, Sakalat, Wa'a Ragaman, Watha Wala Aitha, Shanya, Mashazar, verse 25. Waya I Shawa, Pa'ai Manaya, Zahar, Tahawar, Waya Kanawar, Af Hapa'ai Manayam, Bathawak, Hara Manayam, Al Sharalaya, Hama'ayo, Sabayab, Bathawak, Hara Manayam, verse 27. Ha'aiman, Waraman, Ha'aiman, Waraman, Al Shawalaya, Hama'ai Yo, Sabaya, Lasharath, Ka'ashar, Tazawah, Yahweh, Ath Mashah, verse 27. Waya I Shawah, Ath Haka Sanath, Shasha, Matazashah, Aragai, it's like Araga, La'a Haran, Wala Banayawa, verse 28. Wa'ath Hamataza Napath, Shasha, Wa'ath Pa'a Raya, Hamaga Ba'ai Tha, Shasha, Wa'ath Maka Nasiya, Habad, Shasha, Mashazar. All right, Exodus chapter 39, verse 22. Says, and he made the robe of ephod of woven work, all of blue, and there was a hole in the midst of the robe, as the hole of a habergeon, with a band round about the hole, that it should not rend. Rend meaning that it should not rip. And they made, verse 24, and they made upon the hems of the robe pomegranates of blue and purple and scarlet and fine twined linen. And they made bells of pure gold and put the bells between the pomegranates upon the hem of the robe, round about between the pomegranates. A bell and a pomegranate, round about the hem of the robe to minister in, as the Lord commanded Moses. Verse 27. And they made coats of fine linen of woven work for Aaron and for his sons, and a mitre of fine linen, and goodly bonnets of fine linen, and linen breeches of fine twined linen. All right. We're going to do, starting at verse 28, next 7 in the Hebrew. Exodus chapter 39, starting at verse 28 in the Hebrew. Wa'atha hamataza napath shasha wa'ath pa'araya hamaga ba'aitha shasha wa'ath maka nasiya habad shasha mashazar, verse 29. Wa'ath ha'a banat shasha mashazar watha kalath wa'a ragaman watha wala'aitha shanya ma'ai sha raquam ka'ashar tazawa Yahweh ath mashah. Verse 30. Where ISUPK Af Tazia Tazar Nazar Hakwa Dash Zahab Tahawar Waya Kasabawar Ila Yawar Maka Thab Pasa Wa Kaya Hawatham Kwadash Laya Hawa. Verse 31. Waya Sanawar Ila Yawar Pasayar Saka Lasa Lasasa Al Hama Tazanapak Malama Ila Ka'ashar Tazawar Tazawar Yahawah Yahweh Ath Mashah. Verse 32. What's the call? Call Iva the third. Mashakun Aha Mawa'ai Waya'ai Shawar Banya Yasha'ala Kakal Ashar Tazawar Yahweh Ath Mashah Khan Aishawar. Verse 33. Waya Awar Ath Hamashakan Al Mashah Ath Ha'ahal Wa Ath Kal Kalayawar Quora Siyawar Quora Shayawar Kora Yakawar Bara Yakayawar Wa I Madayawar Wa Danayawar. Verse 34. Wa I Masakar I will wrath Ha'a Yalam Hama'a Damayam Wa'ath Makasah Iratha Hatha Kashiyam Wa'ath Parakat Hamasak. 35. Ath Aran Ha'ai Datha Wa'ath Badayawa Wa'ath Haka Parath. We just read Exodus chapter 39, starting at verse 28. Starting at verse 29. In the girdle of fine twined linen, and blue, and purple, and scarlet, of needlework, as the Lord commanded Moses. And they made the plate of the holy crown of pure gold, and wrote upon it a writing, like to the engravings of a signet, holiness to the Lord. And they tied it onto it a lace of blue, to fasten it on high upon the mitre, as the Lord commanded Moses. Thus was all the work of the tabernacle of the tent of the congregation finished. And the children of Israel did according to all the Lord commanded Moses. So did they. Verse 33. And they brought the tabernacle unto Moses, the tent, and all his furniture, his taches, his boards, his bars, and his pillars, and his sockets, and the covering of ram skins dyed red, and the covering of badger skins, and the veil of the covering. Verse 35. The ark of the testimony, and the stage thereof, and the mercy seat. All right. Keep in mind, we've always worn mitres around our head. We've always worn mitres. We've always worn, in this sense, Aaron wore a mitres, and on top of that, he had a crown. You know, whenever you are praying or you prophesying or you're teaching, you should always have a covering with the crown of your head over. You know, just like you see right here. This is something. This is an ancient. This is as ancient as Moses and Aaron. You know what I mean? This this is something also that Paul reiterated when it says it is a shame for a woman to cover her head. Likewise, a man is supposed to keep his head uncovered. And that's why when you see us wear, this would be considered a war scarf, but if you've seen us wear, you know, a mitre over our head, understand that the top of the mitre is open. We are not Taliban. We are not, you know, we are not the Sandman where we cover our head completely. What do they call that? I forget. You'll see Nick Cannon will wear something over his head that keeps his head completely covered. You'll also see fake Israelites do it as well. But we do not wear turbans over our heads. We always keep the crown of our head uncovered. All right, Exodus chapter 39. We're going to start at verse 36. What Hashalakan Ath call Kala Yawar wa Ath Lakam Hapa Nayam, verse 37. Ath Hamanara Hata Hara Ath Nara Thaya Narath Hama I Raka wa Ath Call Kalaya wa Ath Shaman Hama a war, verse 37. Wa Ath Mazabak Hazahab wa Ath Shaman Hama Shakar wa Ath Quatarath Hata Mayam wa Ath Masak Pathak Ha'ahal, verse 39. Wa'ath Mazabak Wana Kishatha Wa'ath Makabar Wana Kishatha Ashar Lawar Ath Badayawar Wa'ath Call Kalayar Ath Hakayar wa Ath Kanawar, verse 42. Ath Kula'ai Ya Hakatazar Ath Ima Diyaha wa Ath Adaniyah wa Ath Hamasak Lasha'ai Ra Hahatazar Wa'ath Maya Thura Yawa Waya Thada Thaya Wa'ath Call Kalawa Ibadatha Hamashakan La'ahan Mawa'ai, verse 42. Ath Baga the Ya Hasharad La'ai Rath Lasharath Bakwadash Ath Baga Bagadia Hakwadash La'a Haran Hakahan Wa'ath Bugger the Ya, Bunny Yawa, Lakahan, verse 42. Kakal Ashar, Tazawar, Yahweh, Athmashah, Khan, Aishawar, Vanya Yasha'ala, Ath Call Ha'ai Bada. All right, what we just read, starting at Exodus chapter 39, verse 36. It says, the table and all the vessels thereof, and the showbread, the pure candlestick with the lamps thereof, even with the lamps to be set in order, and all the vessels thereof, and the oil for light. Exodus chapter 39, verse 38. And the golden altar, and the anointing oil, and the sweet incense, and the hanging for the tabernacle. So like, and the hanging for the tabernacle door, the brazen altar, and his grate of brass, his staves, the laver and his foot, the hangings of the court, his pillars and his sockets, and the hanging for the court gate, his cords and his pins, and all the vessels of service of the tabernacle, for the tent of the congregation, the cloths of service to do service in the holy place, and the holy garments for Aaron the priest, and his son's garments to minister in the priest office, according to all Slakia. All right, we're going to stop right there. Last 7. Exodus chapter 39. We're going to start at verse 43. Wayara'ah, Mashah, Athkal, Hamala'akah, Wahana, Aishawar, Atha, Ka'ashar, Tazawar, Yahweh, Khan, Aishawar, Waya Barak, Atham, Mashah, verse 40. Waya Debar, Yahweh, Al Mashah, La'amar, verse 2. Bayawam, Hakadash, Hara Ashawan, Ka'abad, Lakadash, Hakoyam, Af Mashikan, Ahal, Mawa'ai, verse 3. Washamath, Shum, Arawan, Ha'ai, Dawath, Wasa Katha, Al Ha'aran, Ath Hapa Rakah, Hapa Rakatha, verse 4. Waha Ka'atha, Ath Hasha Lakan, Wa'ai Rakatha, Ath Ira Kawa, Waha Ka'atha, Ath Hama Nara, Waha I Layatha, Ath Nara Thaya, verse 5. Wana Thatha, Ath Mazabak, Hazahab, Lakwa Taratha, Lapa Lapanya, Ara 1, Ha'ai Datha, Washa Matha, Ath Masak, Apa Thaka, Lama Shakan, verse 6. Wana Tatha, Ath It's like a third mazabak. Ha'ai lahab. Lapanya. A third, a thakar. Mashakan. A hall. Mawa'ai. The last 7. So what we just read in Exodus chapter 39, verse Salakia. Exodus chapter 39, verse 43. And Moses did look upon the work, and behold, they had done it as the Lord had commanded. Even so, they done it, and Moses blessed them. Verse 44, chapter 40, verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, on the first day of the first month shalt thou set up the tabernacle of the tent of the congregation, and thou shalt put therein the ark of the testimony, and cover the ark with a veil. Verse 4. And thou shalt bring it in the table, and set it, order the things that are to be set in order upon it. And thou shalt bring in the candlestick, and light the lamps thereof. Verse 5. And thou shalt set the altar of gold for the incense before the ark of the testimony, and put the hanging of the door to the tabernacle. And thou shalt set the altar of the burnt offering before the Lord, before the door of the tabernacle of the tent of the congregation. All right. And with that, I think we're going to end it right here. Next week, we'll start at chapter 40, verse 7. I'll mark that. We'll do chapter 40, verse 7 next week. And with that, I remind you, which needs to stand. We're going to end the Sabbath service. All right. La Yasha Allah. Mind you, Wapanya Hakwadam, which means to rise, turn and face the east. We're going to start the Lord's Prayer. It's like we're going to start the prayers. The Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Follow along if you can. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Hayah, Shankar, Yahweh, Malakutha, Daba'ah, Ratzakah, Hayah, Bashamayim, Nathananawa, Lakam, Call, Yawam, Wasaluk Nawa, Couple Wuth Nawa, Kasaluk Nawa, Couple Wuth Nawa, Wala W Anawa, Banasaya 1, Abal, Hawashinawa, Mayan, Ra, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwa, Wahala, Wataparat, La Iwalamya. Amen. We just read, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory. Forever so be it. Amen. All right, we're going to do the power, Hakak in the Hebrew. Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushai, Baba Kashah, Nathunanawa, Hakak, Larapa'ah, Larapa'ah, Call Maka'ala, Wakal Matawa, Hakak, Lataha, Ha, Batazarayam, Hakak, Lahaquayam, Hamathia, Hakak, Arakawa, Hatama'Allah, Lagarashan, Ba'ashim Yahushai, the water Aman. We just read. Lord, in the name of Yahushua, please give us the power to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease, the power to cleanse the lepers, the power to raise the dead, the power against unclean spirits, to cast them out in the name of Yahushua. Thank you. So be it. We're going to do Psalms 121 in the Hebrew. Asha'ah, Ayanya, Al Paharayam, Ma'ayan, Yaba'ah, Azariah, Ma'ayin, Yahweh, Aisha, Shamayam, Wa'arataza, Al Yathan, Lamawat, Regalka, Al Yanawam, Shamarka, Hana, La'ah, Yanawam, Wala'ah, Yishan, Shawamah, Yasha'ala, Yahweh, Shamarka, Yahweh, Tazalka, Al Yad, Yamyaka, Wayamam, Hashamash, La'ah, Yikaka, Wayarab, Balayala, Yahweh, Yashamarka, Makal Ra, Yashama, Aknapashka, Yahweh, Yashama, Taza Athka, Wabu Akka, Ma'aitha, Wa'aid Awalam. Is what we just read. I will lift up my eyes unto the hills. From whence cometh my help? My help cometh from the Lord, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and even forevermore. All right, we're going to do Psalms 83 in the Hebrew. Alahayim, Al-Damalika, Al-Thakarash, Al-Tashakwat, Al-Kayahana, Al-Yabika, Yahama Yawan, Wamashanayika, Nasha'awa, Ra'ash, Al-Aimaka, Yerayumwa, Sawar, Wayatha Aitazawa, Al-Tsapawanyika, Amawa, Lakawa, Wanakakida, Magiyah, Wala'a, Yasaka, Sham Yasha'ala, Iwad, Kaya, Noah Aitazawa, La, Yakadwa, Al Yakab, Bayarath, Yakarathwa, Ahal Yah, Adawam, Wa Yeshmailayam, Mawa'aba, Wa Hagarayam, Gabal, Wa Amawan, Wa Amalak, Panashat, Am Yeshabia, Tazawar, Gam Ashawar, Mala'ah, Malawar, Imam, Hayawar, Zera'ai, Labanya Lawat, Salah, Aisha, Laham, Kamaji, Kasa Yisra'a, Kayabian, Banakal, Kwayashwan, Nashamagwa, Ba'ayan da Ara, Hayawa, the man the Adama, she is somewhat. Now the Yamawa, Ka because of Ba, because of Bak, because of Zamana. Call the see Kamwa, a Shah, I'm a war, near a Shah, not a war, not a wife. Alahayim, she is someone, Kagogala, Kakwash, Lapanya Rakar, Ka us, the Ba'ira, ya Ira, Wakalahaba, Thalahat, Harayam, Kan Tharadutma. Basa Irika, Wabasa Wafka, the Bahalam, Mala'a, Panyaham, Kuala One, Wayabakwashwa, Shankar, Yahawa, Yabashwa, Wayabahawa, Ijai, Wayabapara, Wayabadwa, Wayab Iwa, Kaya, Atha, Shankar, Yahawa, Labanta, Ayuan, Al Kalha, Aratiza. All right, what we just read. Slovakia. What we just read in Psalms 83. Keep not thy silence, O God. Hold not thy peace and be not still, O power. For lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee, the tabernacles of Edom, and the Ishmaelites, of Moab, and the Hagarenes, Gabal, and Ammon, and Amalek, the Philistines, with the inhabitants of Tyre. A sword is also joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot. Salah. Do unto them as unto the Midianites, as to Sisera, at the brook of Jabin, at the brook of Jaban, Kasan, which perished at Endor. They became a dung for the earth. Make their nobles like Ared and like Zeed, yeah, all their princes as Zabah and as Zalmunna, who said, let us take to ourselves the house of the Most High in possession. O my power, make them like a wheel, as a stubble before the wind, as the fire burneth the wood, as the flame setteth the mountains on fire. So persecute them with thy tempest, and make them afraid with thy storm. Fill their faces with shame, that they may seek thy name, O Lord. Let them be confounded and troubled forever. Yea, let them be put to shame and perish, that men may know that thou, whose name alone is Yahweh, art the Most High over all the earth. All right. We're going to do the blessings in the Hebrew. Barak atah Yahweh, wa Yahweh Shah, wa Mayak Allah, wa Alahayim, Matazabaya, Alawap Yahana, Ha Alawapya, Ha Saranya, Ha Kortazayanya, Ha Koyoyoya, wa Akwafya, Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushua, the water Aman. What we just read. Bless you, Yahweh, and Yahushua, and Michael, and the angels, Commander General Yohanan, the generals, the captains, the officers, the troopers, and the sisters. Yahweh, in the name of Yahushua, thank you. So be it. All right. One prayer for a loved one. We're going to bless Israel. Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushua, Barak Lana Wa, Wayasha'ala, Wahab Bayat, Saparayam, Barak, Rapa'ah, Magun, Hagun, Gene Dennis, Gene Dennis, by Shem Yahushua, the water our mind. What we just said was, Lord, in the name of Yahushua, bless us and Israel in the school. Bless, heal, shield, protect Gene Dennis in the name of Yahushua. Thank you. So be it. All right, we're gonna do the curses in the Hebrew. So like we're gonna do the curses. Bless you, Yahweh, King of heaven and earth, and all things living. Yahweh, in the name of Yahushua, listen to us now, right now. Send evils and curses and punishment and destruction to the heathen that speak against thy prophets, the teachers, the princes, the priests, the Israelite brothers in the school. Send evils and curses and punishment and destruction to the heathen, and shake loose the treasure of the rich of Israel that refuse to give to the school. Force their riches to enter into thy sanctuary. Send evils and curses and punishment and destruction to the Edomites and to the nations thereof, the drug dealers, the court system, the prison system, Planned Parenthood, all the governments of our enemies, Amalek, synagogues and armies, Roman Catholic Church, the Pope, Islam, Christianity, Egyptology, militia, Ku Klux Klan, Aryan Nation, skinheads, Posse Comitazi, the gay movement, the lesbian movement, spies, workers of witchcraft, NASA space programs, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Wall Street. Open up the internet and the airways and the cable access channels and the radio channels. Convict the spirit of any of thy people that seek to stop us, and bring swift destruction to all the heathen that stand in the way or try to stop us from broadcasting your words throughout the planet Earth. Let loose all the plagues, cause them to go to and fro through the earth and consume them. Let the plague shake the house of the thief and the murderer. Let Yahushua, Michael, and Gabriel come down with flying saucers and punish all the heathen that come up against us as we speak thy word. Cause it to be known by all that it is the angels that have done it. Cause it to be spread throughout the media, throughout the whole world. Cause them to shake at that coming. In the name of Yahushua, thank you. Always. So be it. And with that, all right, we're going to salute the brothers. Amajim, Shabbat, Amajim, Barak, Yahweh Bashim Yahushua Berkathum. We're going to salute the sisters. Amajim, Shabbat, Amajim, Barak, Yahweh Shema Alathah Bashim Yahushua. And with that, we're going to end the Sabbath service. Give the Lord a hand.